All right, welcome everyone. Welcome, Sarah. Thank you for being here with us today. I can only imagine how stressful life is right now, so I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us today. And I know a lot of people will have questions for you, and there's been so much discussion on the listserv, so I know there are a lot of other questions that people may want to, or topics that you may want to discuss today. And I just have a short devotion I'll read, but just a reminder that the gathering today is recorded and it will be available on the website. When you get to the website, you have to scroll down a little bit and you'll find a link that says ELEA COVID resources. I think it says COVID-19 resources. And that is a live Google Doc. So it's updated each week and sometimes midweek if new resources become available around the discussions that we've had at the previous gathering. So this recording will be available, and if any resources are discussed or if there's anything, Sarah, you want us to make sure to post with that recording, I will make sure to do that. So I'll just read today's devotion quickly. It is by Jordan Loftus. He's the author of 2 best-selling books, Today We Win and The Men with Bare Feet. It just, as I was kind of doing some reading this morning, it just spoke to me as we're all kind of reflecting a lot more lately. It's from Philippians 1:6. God's not done with you. These are his words. I wish my testimony was one of unwavering faith. I wish my high school classmates would all tell the same stories of my obvious love for Jesus, of my commitment to the gospel at all costs. Now some of them would, because I do love Jesus and am committed to the gospel, but others wouldn't because they've seen me fall to sin and act pridefully. In fact, I'd wager that many of us are this way. We wish we could have another chance at past situations. These were my thoughts prior to writing this. Pretty grim way to spend an afternoon, right? But here was God's answer to my angst and self-disappointment. I'm not done with you yet. He brought Paul's words to memory. And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. I'm not finished. He's still making me. I'm still being molded and shaped and conformed to Jesus' likeness. And here's more good news. So are you. God's not done with us. We are still being drawn and invited into relationship with him. Jesus served us first, and from that place of being served by him, we can serve him and his church. What God did for me was turn my focus from myself and toward Jesus. This may seem simple, but it is a monumental gift of change and transformation. When our hearts are focused on Jesus, we see his servanthood and selfishness. We see his love for the church. We see the image of which we're being conformed. This changes us because we join Jesus in his mission and work on earth. This is the context in which this molding, shaping, and transforming takes place. No matter where we've fallen or cracked, our marker has a grand design and intention for us that is not yet complete. Rest in hope and turn your focus upward and outward. Let the Father change your narrow scope from simply today to that of eternity. Do not let past failures dictate your standing before God. If so, stop. Rejoice today that we are being made more like Jesus as we accept God's invitation to join him in his work. He isn't done with us yet. And with that, Sarah, I invite you to share with us your journey. I know that you opened just yesterday. Sarah is the director of Adventure Place in Uniontown, Ohio, and has been really active in the ELEA and agreed to join us today to kind of share her struggles and her celebrations. I hope she's here to share some celebrations. So Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I will monitor the chat box in case anybody has any questions, and we can regroup in just a few.
All right, well, the big celebration today is thank God for day 2, because day 1 was a little bumpy. We were told 2 weeks ago that we were going to be open
Evans joined the meeting.
on the 31st, which is odd because that's a Sunday. So we opened yesterday. So we had 2 weeks, which we had already put into protocols into place, but we're waiting for the governor to announce what his was going to be as well. I left Friday. I even took a half a day off Friday thinking we had everything sealed and ready to go. And yesterday morning was chaotic. But it's just all everybody getting used to it. So some of the things are the parents do have to wear masks when they enter the building. We take temperatures. We have one entrance and they walk around the building to one exit. So, you know, parents would come up to the doors and I'd be like, oh, do you not have a mask? And, oh, I forgot it in my car. So, you know, set that. They would come back. I'd be at the front door taking temperatures and they would come back and I would say, okay, I'm going to let you sneak out today, but tomorrow you have to go. Oh, I totally forgot. And someone would be like, nope, I'll go. So, you know, it's just really just kind of, I will say today I'm going to be adding a whiteboard easel where I'm going to write, because as soon as they hit me, like with the thermometer, they have to go wash their hands. It's like when you go in the door, it's like right to the left. So it's not very far away, but now there's going to be a big whiteboard after I tell them to wash their hands, Mom, dads, and kids too. So we do only let one parent in at pickup or drop off, not both. If they have a sibling that is not enrolled at Adventure Place, they're not allowed in. So then they call the school and then I'll run out and get the kiddo, or vice versa, take them out to them at pickup. So I will say today went much smoother. Parents remembered. I had a cut like one and which I didn't have yesterday and I should have. I do have now like throwaway masks. So if somebody forgets, then they can have one of ours. So I don't really besides that, I mean, I will say, you know, our center did receive the PPP loan. So my staff, sorry, you know, catch the eye. It's bathroom time. We were able to pay our staff while we were closed. And I did receive an email Sunday night at 9, which I didn't receive until I got to work yesterday at 6:15. And my lead school ager has decided to not return. So that kind of sent a little bit more of into a tizzy, but nothing because of protocol, nothing because of families, because now at 6:15 in the morning when she's supposed to be here at 8, I have a whole classroom without a teacher. So I will say that parents are kind of easing back in. So we were able to get away with 2 classrooms yesterday. I'm probably not being as stringent with the combining of the kids. My staff are wearing masks. They don't have to wear them when the kids are eating, when they're outside or they're napping. But so I do kind of feel like with the masks, it's hard, you know, when I don't have a lot of staff anyway, and our group sizes, so school age and preschool can have 9, and infant and toddler can have 6, but infant can have no more than 1-to-4 ratio. So I have 3 preschool, I have 3 toddler, 3 preschool, 3 school age, 2 toddler, and an infant room. So, and I was very fortunate that with the families that were still working from home and not like the teachers that weren't going to be attending in the summer anyway, I didn't have to turn anybody away. And all of my available spots are filled. So I currently have an enrollment of 81 right now. But I have a friend who is in Columbus, and they literally put their family's names in a hat to pick who's coming back. So I definitely am very happy that they did not. I did see about the masks. No, the masks are not state mandated. I will tell you that our state, which again, I'm in Ohio, put more mandated practices in for my 10-year-old to play baseball than he did to open our school. So with us, there's mandatory and there's best practices. Mandatory is the temperatures and just really what we already know for cleaning and washing hands. I was not a proponent of the mask. It is something that I had a board member that was pretty upset about us not wearing masks, and now we're wearing masks. I'm just going to be real Christian about that. Now we're wearing masks. So the staff was really upset about it at first. I mean, I was very grateful. You know, they said, I had one staff member, we use an app that we all communicate with, and one staff member did say, listen, Sarah didn't want this, Sarah fought for this, we're going to do this for the kids, and we're going to do this for Sarah. So I had a couple, you know, and it's been okay. I've told them, I said, if you need to take a break, take a break. Like, we don't need to have any panic attacks over this. It's okay. So, yes. So no, that is not, but it was under best practice. So, but as far as like mandated by our governor and the group sizes, it was very minimal. I was really surprised. So
Sarah, are any of your students wearing masks? Maybe
No.
you said that already. Okay,
No.
no students. No parents have said we want our kids to wear masks or
No,
good.
no.
Somebody asked you, how are you financially making this small enrollment work?
So we don't have, because of being in the church, and, you know, and obviously I come to these conferences every year, and I hear different stories, and even on the ELEA group, the Yahoo group, we're very fortunate. We pay our church $1,000 a month. Like, I don't have a lot of overhead. Right. I know. That's the look I give, Stacy. That's the look I get when someone says, oh, we pay him $60,000 a year. And I'm like, what? So I do come back every year after the conference and thank my church. But besides the staff, and right now we still have, because we didn't receive our PPP loan until May 8th. So that ran us through May, through June, and it'll run half of July. So I have copy machine, you know, I don't have a lot of overhead. So we're actually, and like I kind of explained to Corey earlier, being in Ohio, like, we are extremely blessed. In June, will be receiving a $20,000 grant that I have to spend in June because I'm going to be getting another one in July. And I was like, I'm stressing out about how to spend this money because I have to spend the money to justify why I'm purchasing it in this manner. But I can't use it for payroll. I could use it for payroll, but I can't because I have the PPP loan. So I need to eat that up first. So yeah, so I have been, all of the tuition we are receiving is going into our surplus right now. So, I mean, I hate reading the feed of hearing the centers close because Ohio's just apparently got it going on when it comes to that stuff. So
Sarah, one of the other things that I'm sure you've seen in that Google group, how are you handling sick children and sick employees as far as if something were to show on a temperature reading or something when they come in?
all right, so I think maybe it'll be easier. Let me just go through my list of protocol, and I'll say it slower. So if you guys, I see people kind of writing things down. So we do have the one entrance, one exit. The parents do wear masks at drop off and pickup. Parents and children must wash their hands upon entering. Parents may not bring in children that are not enrolled at Adventure Place into the building. One parent may pick up or drop off. The parents are not allowed to enter the classrooms. The teachers can meet them at the door. So if a child gets a fever while at Adventure Place, they're immediately removed and isolated into the office, and they have to accommodate pickup within 30 minutes. So, you know, I've had a parent say, we work in Fairlawn, it's 45 minutes away. I'm like, well, then you better have grandma on call. So, but they all signed a thing saying they would abide by these. And they cannot return until they're fever-free for 48 hours, and typically ours is 24, unless they're seen by a doctor. So our protocol, if somebody does get the virus or there is a case here, is we're on a case by case. So basically I have to call our health department and then they will tell us what to do there. Cause I'm sure there will be a lot of questions and, you know, to decide what it is. So there's no set thing that this is what's going to happen if we get a case. So it's on a case-to-case basis. Everyone's temperatures are taken at arrival. Teachers are to talk to parents. How are you feeling? Everything good? Did you sleep okay? You know, not the typical, do you have X, Y, and Z symptoms, just kind of more informal. So we have a cleaning crew that comes in every night, but we take trash to the dumpster during the day. We clean the bathrooms during the day. Like, I have never seen these bathrooms get cleaned so much in my life. We don't let kids bring toys from home. Absolutely no toys from home. Nap items are isolated, or just a small blanket and a pillow. And they're all kept in like reusable grocery bags, like vinyl ones. They're staying here. We're going to launder them on Wednesdays and Fridays, just so we know that a parent didn't leave that nap bag in the car over the weekend and bring it back in. Clean cots daily. My teachers are not allowed in each other's classrooms either. So they are to stay in their own classrooms. We sanitize the playground after each use. And I will tell you, we have a resource and referral agency here. One of the best things that I picked up off of that is I got a pesticide sprayer and I fill it with our cleaning solution, and that's what I use to sanitize the playground because it like covers it so much easier. So if a group is out there, when they're getting ready to come in, I actually have a floater at all times that helped with teacher potty breaks, kid potty breaks, laundry, cleaning. If a class goes outside, she goes in and kind of cleans the classrooms, and she does the playground. And then we wait 10 minutes until the next group goes out. We do have a big playground, a very large parking lot, and a grass area. So we can't have more than one group in each area, but with that, we can have the 3 groups out at one time. Because with 9 classrooms, and our infant and toddler have their own playground, but with 6 classrooms, you know, 9:30 to 11:30 is not a lot of time to get everybody on the playground at one time. I am now doing tours via Zoom. I've done 2. Very interesting. I do it on my phone, so I'm getting used to it. It's not so bad. I think because of the situation, the 2 families that I've done have appreciated that me not allowing them into the school because of this and accommodating the Zoom. The kids eat all their snacks, all their meals in the classroom. We do have a fellowship hall that we used to utilize for lunch, and we don't, so they stay in the classroom.
Sarah, do you have food from home?
No, we have our own. Our cook came back. They do pack on Fridays, but I haven't I will say a lot of centers in our area, they've upped prices. They've taken away food. And when I say that, I mean they're not providing the food anymore. It was very important to me and to us that we tried to keep this as normal as possible. So a lot of times where our rooms are, parents would cut through our fellowship hall. I don't let anybody in the kitchen. I don't let anybody in the fellowship hall. So we just try to keep the germs away from the food prep area as much as we can. So no extra people in the building. Like a lot of times my staff would bring, like if they had older daughters, like I have one that's a teenager. The pastor has been great about like only as needed church members if they have to come in for something. So no extra. I've kind of put a kibosh with the teachers eating in the classroom. Like I just really want them to eat when the kids are eating and not like leave their snacks out on the table. And even if they have water bottles, I've kind of asked them just to keep them in their cupboards. Because, you know, if you have a straw out and the kids are sneezing and those droplets are going around and your straw's right there, then you're putting it in your mouth. So just to kind of keep it in a cupboard and take it out as you want to drink and put it back. We do have a library that we utilize for break, and somebody's in charge of cleaning that daily. The kids can bring in a water bottle because we shut down our water fountains, so they can bring in a water bottle, but they are spaced apart on top of the cubbies, and the parents have to take them home daily to wash them. I think that was pretty much it. Yeah. That's it for now, at least.
Sarah, can you talk about where your grant was from?
Our grant was from, so we, here in Ohio, we have what's called the Early Childhood Resource Center that serves all of our counties. They're our local resource and referral agency. The governor has gave the state $60 million for child care centers to help with the low ratios and the opening costs. And that was kind of, now for June, that was kind of divided between how many licensed centers and in-home type A and type B that it would be. So it's two different ones. And one is like, it's just called a COVID-19 payment. We do our state initiatives called Step Up to Quality. So it is tiered on the star rating that you are. And they give you, like, I'm considered an extra large center, which is 76 or more. And since I have 81 enrolled, I got 2,000 from that grant. And then they have a low ratio grant, which was 17,749. So that's what we get for June. July, we don't know because unfortunately 30% of the centers in Ohio are closing due to this. So with them closing, the ones that are open.
In addition to that money that you're getting from the state, you have that many closing?
Yes. Well, and that's because this was just announced like we knew we were getting it and the amount wasn't, but I don't know if it would carry them.
Well, New Jersey hasn't gotten anything yet. So
I know.
That's a scary number. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, so it was all from Ohio. I mean, I will say in my area, there's 3 of us, 3 centers in general, not even Lutheran Center, just 3 centers in general, and one of them closed. So when that center closed, I mean, those poor parents, they were going to open up over the summer. They were going to close anyway. They were going to reopen for the summer and then close at the end of August to give parents a chance to find alternate care. She didn't have enough that wanted to do that would have covered her cost. So she's just not opening back up. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's really easy for a lot of these families right now to work from home. So that's because even for me, I had parents say, well, I'm still working from home till July. And I explained to them, I said, well, here's your options. You can start paying now to hold your spot and start in July. You can start now, or you can lose it because these are the numbers that I have. This is the money that I need to make. And at some point, somebody has to understand that Adventure Place is a business and not just a school. So.
Sarah, did any of your parents ask about paying their tuition, but doing some sort of just online connection with your classroom?
No. They've all been, like, they've all come back. Like this week, we have some that are easing in. Now, I will say, like, for our families, if it benefited us, and like with my infant room, I can only have 6. Well, I have a few parents that dad went back to work, mom didn't. One's a teacher that said, hey, I'll bring him a couple of days because she's doing master classes, or I can keep him home if it helps. So in that situation, I said, because they were essentially doing us a favor and the other families, that I did hold their spot until fall. But they all knew that was also contingent upon the governor upping our numbers back up in the fall. So, you know, typically if you pull out in the summer, you have to pay to keep your spot or you lose it. Well, they did me a favor. So I said, I promise your spot is saved if our numbers go back up. So they knew that they took that chance. They didn't have to pay to hold their spot, but they knew that they could come back to where they wanted to come back if it all worked out.
Sarah, what are the grants you said that are for licensed care centers in your state? How about the early learning centers that are not licensed? Is that a thing in Ohio or all of?
Usually you're either licensed by ODE, Ohio Department of Education, or ODJFS. ODE centers did not qualify. There's only Ohio Department of Job and Family Services ones. So if they're not licensed, then they wouldn't have gotten the grant.
Yeah, that's the dilemma here too in Washington State, because our our licensed centers are getting some sort of grant, but obviously the early learning community is not at this point in time, and we can't be licensed. We aren't licensed, so there's a disparity.
So you're not licensed, Chris?
No, because we have two different centers at Trinity, the license part, and my peer Nanette Urban is the director of that program. It's the licensed full-day childcare program, and my program is the program that originated, the whole thing almost 40 years ago, and it's unlicensed. So that's at least in Washington State. Early learning centers that are not childcare centers that see children less than 4 hours a day are not licensed, and they don't have the capacity to license all of us, and haven't. So,
yeah, and in here, I mean, you're either licensed or you're a babysitter. You know what I mean? Like we don't have even our preschool only 9 to 11:30 programs are licensed through Job and Family Services.
I know it's so many places, but Washington doesn't. They don't put any money towards it.
Wow.
Yeah, Chris, I don't think there are many states like Washington anymore.
Yeah,
and it is. I know it's such a really difficult situation that Washington isn't looking at those programs as a more vital resource to the community.
It's the same in North Carolina.
Okay.
We are preschools that are under 4 hours a day are not licensed by the state. We're considered unregulated. It allows us some flexibility because we can take all the licensing guidelines and apply a little bit of common sense to some of the things. But we keep our ratios low and do reference the guidelines a lot, but we also get to do things that work best for us. And because we're less than 4 hours, we do a lunch bunch instead of providing a lunch meal, and we don't have to worry about naps and those types of things either because we're not longer than, so it's not necessary. So yeah, I guess it varies by state. I guess I assumed every state was like this. So it's what we know, I guess, with our states.
Just to let you guys know, another protocol that other people have put in place that it would be extremely hard for me to do because of the size is some people aren't even letting parents in the building. So they have somebody to do a well check, take temperatures, and run them back to the classroom. My school just physically is large. So it would be, I mean, not that I couldn't use the extra steps, but I would be probably tapped out by like 9:30 every day, like done. So.
Sarah, two more questions came up. One talks about what you're doing. Are you doing anything extra in relation to shared toys, supplies, and books? I know you talked about the library, but then also what are you doing for social distancing in the classroom? What are the protocols, or what are the state requirements, if any?
There aren't any requirements. I think we probably enforce the social distancing a little bit more in our school agers than we do, obviously, the preschool and toddlers. My one teacher actually came up with a really cute idea to use airplane arms. And so they put their arms out, and that's kind of how far they should be away from each other. So like if they're standing in line to go to the bathroom, sometimes we like to be a little touchy-feely there. And so she'll be like, oh, airplane arms. And I was out in the playground, and the kids were doing sidewalk chalk. And so Vicki said, let's draw an airplane, so it's just that. And I will say, like, the teachers kind of even forget that too, because like I came around the corner and the kids were lining up, and the one kiddo was like, he was doing something and he was like spinning. I'm like, yeah, Carson, let's not do that, okay? And I'm like, Rochelle, like, get it? And she's like, oh, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, we need to think about it. So I've kind of been telling them all, like, you need to treat everybody in this building, like they have the Rona and they're about to sneeze on you. So, just think about that. So, and I lost, what was the other part?
Just
Toys. Yeah.
supplies.
So we did, like when we opened, we made sure that we had enough in each of the classrooms to fulfill the interest areas. They're not sharing, but I will say, like, when my 3-year-olds go outside, that floater goes in and wipes things down. So, I mean, they are being cleaned throughout the day. We do kind of have, again, backup we do a big fundraiser every year. And so this year we used the money from the fundraiser because we had to cancel all of our summer Corona plans. We bought a bunch of materials. So we have extra things right now that we can swap out for. So, and with this grant, I've also purchased stuff for that too, like extra outside equipment because we're utilizing 3 spaces now instead of just 1. So yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of the amount of cleaning that's going on during the day because I thought I was going to have to be like on them about it. And really the one that I have the floater, and I have a couple teachers that are working like morning, like 7 to 1 and then 1 to 6. I have like the 1 to 6 come in at 11 to kind of clean some more. That is another thing we did. We're usually open 6:30 to 6:30 and we shaved off a half an hour in the morning and a half an hour in the evening. And maybe it's just a group of directors, but that's like a big deal. Like, I know my pastor looked at me like, why, what's an hour? I'm like, you don't understand that extra half hour in the morning and that extra half hour in the afternoon really made a difference with scheduling. And I'm glad, it's summer. So some of my teachers are like, I'm good with only working 30 hours. So if it was going to hit, I guess this was the good time for it to happen. So.
Sarah, will you go over your, somebody just kind of missed it. They asked, do parents line up with their children outside the entrance on spaced X's, as they do like outside a grocery store? You don't use a carpool lane. I know you talked about you don't go and get the kids. They can come to their classroom. And also then do you ask parents to do any temperature taking at home?
No, we don't ask them to do it at home because we do it, like even a parent had to go out and they forgot a water bottle. I had to take her temperature when she came back in. I mean, every time a staff member or a kiddo leaves this building and comes back in, their temperature gets taken. So, and we haven't done, I go back and like, I understand why the protocol, like the parents aren't allowed in, but like, I thought of like, it wasn't so much yesterday, I think today, because yesterday they were all super excited to be here. Today they were a little more tired and a little more mommy, dad, and I think, and maybe as a mom, like I would hate in this kind of setting with everything going on to not be able to see my kiddo's teacher, to not be able to see him smile and walk in the room, knowing that he's okay. So, and like I said, I think this is still one that is up in the air with the pastor and he would like to. I don't really have the manpower. Like we would probably have to hire a good 3 people to do this. So with my staff that I have, like I have that one person, that one extra person, and I use her to clean and clean some more and more. So.
All right, these questions are coming quick now.
I know, I see them coming up and I can't like talk and read them. So.
It's okay. It's all right. I got it. Got it for you, friend. So you kind of talked about the toys, but like let's talk about your toddler room. Those kiddos are playing with the same toys and sharing toys, I would assume. And then you're having somebody come in and clean when they're out of their room.
Yeah, I mean, and we have it's called Jaws. It's our cleaner that's in a spray bottle. So that's a little less harsh than bleach, and it does meet the EPA standards. So, she is really good about, just kind of spraying it, wiping it off, and then kind of leave it on her sink, or we have like a bin to air dry and to put them back out. And again, like right now, I mean, the one toddler room has 4. Like it's easier to maintain. when you only have a group of 4 or 5 or 6. So, and even in our staff meeting, I kind of told them, I said, you really have to keep that stored in your mind, because when I was thinking like, oh, how are we going to do? Oh, that's right. There's only going to be 9 in that classroom. Never mind. It'll work. So, yeah, with the lower numbers, it really is easier to maintain cleanliness.
Do you have any soft surface items, stuffed animals, dress up items, anything? No. So
I would say
okay.
like dress up items, like we have, we did leave hats, purses, and shoes. But I'm a big, I hate stuffed animals anyway. So I was not upset. Like we took those out before we even closed. Pillows, stuffed animals, anything like that. And we just haven't brought them back out. So. And my teachers went to, I think it was Mark's, which is like our little discount grocery store. And they have children's size, like lawn furniture. Like it was like a bench, but it was mesh. So it's real easy to wipe off. And it's perfect for their size. And she texted me a picture and said, can I get this for my room? I said, only if you can pick up like 3 more and I'll pay you back when you get to work on Monday. And so we have those in the classroom too, like for library areas and stuff, but it's durable and easy to wipe off.
How about sensory materials and area rugs?
Area rugs we still do have in the room, but before we opened, we had the carpets cleaned, and I would say we'll do that again. Not like professionally, like we have a carpet cleaner here. We probably will do that again, especially in the toddler and infant room at the end of the month. Sensory, I'm trying to think. I don't think any of the classrooms have the sensory. Now that I think about it. We wouldn't be doing it in the infant and toddler for sure. And I know we had talked about it because like one of them had that kinetic sand, and I was like, but no, probably not. I mean, I think outside we don't really pay attention to sensory as much as we do in the summer, as in the winter, because we have a sandbox and stuff outside, and the kids, that's open.
They do use their sandbox outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. I'm going to go back up here. I know I've let a few questions go. Do you maintain the same rates, even though you took that half hour off in the AM and PM?
Yeah, because that's the only thing I took away. We're still providing food. We're still providing degree teachers. We're still providing a curriculum. And I kind of talked to the parents, like, they were fine with it.
Sure. And Terry says, I have a question. Since we are not supposed to mix groups and one teacher stays with their group, we switched our hours from 7 to 6 to 8 to 3 when we reopen on June 29th. After 3, we would mix groups for aftercare. How do you handle the early morning and afternoon care?
We mix groups. I will say that's that's the hardest one, and it's just impossible. We still maintain the group size. So like we open it at 7, I have somebody come in at 7, somebody come in at 7:30, and somebody come in at 8. So by 7:30, there was, I think today and yesterday both, there was like 4 kids. So the one teacher, there was only one kiddo from another classroom. And I will be honest, I was more gonna probably be stricter on that, stressfully stricter, because that was a big stressor for me before it was made that we had to wear masks. And so I just, I just can't, I just don't have the people. I can't have people come in at 7 in the morning and stay till 6 at night. I can't afford the overtime. And so, yeah, it's just, and it's not mandated for us to not mix either. So I know some states it is. But I will say it's probably a half an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. Like it's not, yesterday I came back to the school and everybody was cleared out by 5:15. I ran home to let my dog out before Jax's baseball practice and everybody was gone. So,
Are
yeah.
your start times staggered so that parents aren't all coming in at the same time?
No, and we really don't have, like, cause I've been doing the thermometer, the temperature taking in the morning, and we don't have everybody, like, we open at 7. So whenever they need to go to work, they come at, like, they don't all come at 7 in the morning. So, and we haven't had, and we actually did today, and the one dad waited outside until the one family went by. And I was like, hey, thanks. Like, he just kind of did that on his own. Parents are done. Like, they don't want their kids to be sick. I don't feel like I'm going to hear, oh, my mommy gave me the pink medicine this morning as much as I would before this happened.
Agreed. And I think adults get it. Like it's just natural now to leave that space to wait for the next person. It's like,
yeah,
everybody just kind of does it on their own. Let's see. I need to go back up here quick. Linda wanted to know if anyone has a good forehead scan thermometer they would recommend. Chris, I think you talked about one on a listserv one time or maybe in one of these gatherings, but Sarah, you could share. And everybody, please feel free to unmute yourself. You're welcome to just ask a question when you want, especially if I've missed something that's come in the chat group.
I did. So yesterday it wasn't in because it was back ordered. And it literally was sitting in the secretary's office. Like I saw on Amazon, it had been delivered on Friday. And so I couldn't get down there to get it from the time that I got in. So I was using the swipe one. Oh, that one's awful. Don't get the infrared ones because the kids are, they don't want you to do it. And like, oh, so I did get one. I keep it in my back pocket. I said, I always feel like I'm packing heat, like, because, I just pull it out and zap their foreheads. It works. I mean, I will say the kiddos that have bangs, you have to push it aside because like one of the little girls I took and she was like 93.4 and I was like, and I moved her bangs and she was 98.2. So bangs do, at least the one that I have, and I can send you the link. I just got it on Amazon. It's in my office. I'm in a quiet area right now. So
That'd be helpful, Sarah, because I'm on my second order of infrared thermometers. The first one from Amazon, I got my money back finally. They never came.
mm-hmm.
And they kept saying it's shipping and shipping and shipping. It never came. And now I ordered the one that I think, was it Shirley Becker or someone on the listserv was talking about from Braun Therm. And it sounded like a really reputable company. So I ordered them. I still haven't gotten them yet, but hopefully I will.
Yeah.
So that's
I ordered mine at the beginning of May and I got it on the end. So I just thought, you know what, if anything and I have to return them, okay, but I'm going to go ahead and order
You're
it.
so lucky. Send
Yeah.
us your link because I ordered mine the day we went out on March 13th and just got a credit for that order that never came.
Yeah.
So it's been
mine kept saying it had been shipped, but to see the manufacturer for tracking details, and I was like, great. But it came. So both of them I ordered too. But yeah, I would definitely, if you can get your hands on one of those.
Yes, I also ordered mine from the Braun Therm, and mine are sitting in Hong Kong awaiting customs, which is likely the case for anybody who ordered something while it said it was in stock. It's in stock in China. My husband, who works with a lot of apparel, said it could be as long as 2 or 3 weeks to sit in customs. Central America can take as much as 6 weeks. So China could be faster. So I'm hoping that I get mine before we decide if we're able to open for summer camp or not. But Braun Therm is considered a reputable company. My sister works in healthcare and was familiar with them. So that was my concern too, is, am I gonna really get this? So it just may take a while. I don't know why they don't have any in stock in the US or at least in North America. But we're just waiting as well.
Kathleen, I'm reading that you ordered through Target.com. What brand did you order?
Sorry about that. I was afraid somebody was going to ask. They're sitting in my office and I'm at home. I have no idea. I actually put it out to the parents saying that I was having trouble because I was in the same boat. They kept saying they were coming. And I had one parent who fundraised with a group of parents on her own that also attend our facility, and they ordered them and had them shipped to school. So they're waiting down there. I just haven't been able to get down and see what they are.
Very cool.
We did
Okay,
also
thanks.
have 3 other parents have them from work connections, and they donated them as well. So we have 5 of them waiting for us down at school.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
The Early Childhood Resource Center has PPE kits for us, and they all come with infrared thermometers. Chris, I'll ship it to you.
Sarah, does Ohio require you to have any PPE besides just a mask when you're taking temps? There's a little conversation here about plexiglass barriers, and then that in New Jersey, I guess, has a requirement you don't have to have PPE. It's a choice. You can let the parents take a temperature at home or use the plexiglass. I hope I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the PPE is it's just best practice. It's not mandated. So that's, again, just all something that we've put into place. So even when taking temperatures, it doesn't say we have to wear a mask to do that.
Right. New Jersey had, sorry, I'll just clarify really quickly to jump in, but they had 3 options at first, and it was socially distanced, where you ask the parents, take the child's temperature and ask them their questions. When you get to the door, what was your child's temperature? And you go from there. Option 2 is that you go out dressed in full PPE, gown, gloves, face shield, the whole 9 yards. And then option 3 was a plexiglass barrier that you stand behind to protect yourself while you take the temperature of the child. And now they've taken out the whole full PPE option, and it's either the socially distant option or the plexiglass option.
Do those work through plexiglass, like the infrared?
No, they're telling us to reach our hands around the plexiglass to take it while we shield ourselves in case somebody coughs or sneezes on you.
So they're just going to cough and sneeze on your hand that's around it, but okay.
Yes, our gloved hand that and then we have to, even though they're telling us to use the laser thermometer, we have to clean it with alcohol between each child with an alcohol wipe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, overwhelmingly, it seems like most states have people making protocols that haven't worked in early childhood or in schools at all. But the longer states are taking, and I know there was some conversation this morning, things do start to fall in line with what we know as best practice. If you were on last week with Jennifer in the state of Wisconsin, licensing took a look at a lot of these things and was able to make some to provide some guidance that said this is what should happen. This is what makes sense to happen in early childhood, and hopefully as time goes on, more states will do that.
Our governor put together a task force that had people anywhere from elementary to preschool to licensing, to Ohio Department of Education, to college professors. I think at the end of the day, we're just used to what we're used to. So when you put this protocol into place, your instinct is to be like, well, that's not going to work. How are we going to do that? How are we going to, and you don't want to think like you want it to be normal. You want to go back to opening your doors the way you closed them. And it's not that way. And it's okay to be upset about it and vent and think that everybody's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, it's what we have to do, and have your stomp fest pity party and then pull your bootstraps up and get it done. That's what I've done for a lot over the last 2 months, because I've come in and work every day, even with my staff not being here. I've been in the office 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. So I will say at first I was upset that I had to do that, but man, I think it was my saving grace. So, because I drove myself a little less crazier than everybody else, I think.
There was
Does
an
anybody
insurance
else have any questions? Oh, Chris, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sure. I was just wanting to ask Sarah, there was a conversation this morning about insurance and liability if someone gets COVID. And I was just wanting to know if you guys had done any investigation about your insurance or where that stands.
He did, the pastor did call the insurance company, and we wouldn't be liable for anything because it would be so hard to detect how they got it. Like, it could have been if mom took them to Target or ran to the grocery store or brought, yeah. So I don't think, I mean, at least in Ohio, there's not a test to determine where you've actually got the coronavirus.
That's what I was kind of thinking too. That's like common sense, but I was wondering, wanting to know what the person was talking about with there's loopholes. Do you know the insurance company that you have?
I do not.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, he calls. That's one thing I don't have to handle.
Chris, I thought I would run that question though by Nancy and Jennifer and see if they had information that they could share with us. I think there's just one email in that thread right now, and I thought they might pick it up when they see it, but if they don't, I'll reach out to them and see if they can provide any more guidance on where those loopholes might be.
Thank you.
I hope not, because you know darn well if any one of our families gets this, it's going to be from the daycare. Do you know how many times I hear that? Like, yeah. So of course they're going to blame it on us.
Our insurance people said as long as we're doing our due diligence, you know, like as long as we're clearly doing our part to make sure nobody catches it, that it would be hard for anybody to sue us. And I just went on Target.com and I bought 3 thermometers that'll be ready for me to pick up this afternoon. And they were $65 a piece.
Chris. Swing by St. Augustine, Chris.
We're all like, on your market, set, go.
Yeah. Let's hope.
I just ordered. Right, meetings over. Let's go to Target.
Yeah, I just ordered some online that said it would be here by this middle of this next week. Shipped from Target.
Woohoo! Well, at least there's still a few Targets standing out there.
Let's not talk about that.
Sarah, how did the kids respond to the masks on the teachers rather?
I think they did pretty well. We have, you know, I have one kiddo that cries, and he did yesterday and today. I'm still not convinced it's because of the mask. I'm convinced it's because he's been home with mom for 2 months. But yesterday, I will say a few of the younger ones, and when I say younger, I mean like 2, maybe even some of the more like the 3s, the 2s. I wouldn't say they were scared. They just kind of clung on to dad because I was the first one they saw when they came in. And today, none of them. I mean, they were all fine. So, I mean, I think it's the combination of being out for so long, being home with the parents, coming back to school, getting up early again, and now these people are wearing masks. And some of the kids started in different classrooms. So, yeah, I said at the end of this week, we all deserve a drink, and the kids deserve a big old ice cream sundae or something. Like, yeah, we just all need to celebrate that we all made it through, from the big ones to the little ones.
So I think the challenge will be, these people knew you, correct, before, and now they're coming back into a situation where they knew, whereas new families coming in or new children coming in, that's going to be a different situation. And so that's, right. I'm a little concerned about that for our, 9-month, 10-month school year, and then now we get new students. So now we're going to be wearing masks. That's, I think, a different situation.
Chris, I know somebody's wearing those face shields. I think those are a little stressful. I mean, that's a lot going on up here. I mean, yes, you can see the whole face, but I personally think those are more intimidating looking than like my mask has minions all over it. So, I'm like, look at my minions. Like it's something, so.
We were actually told from, I can't even remember which webinar I was on from Pennsylvania, that you should not use the face shields because the bottom is open and you've got youngsters who are shorter than you are breathing up at you.
Yeah.
But Chris, one of the things that we're planning is, as far as new families, because we're in the same boat, we won't open again until September, is we are making a PowerPoint social story using pictures from our kids. So like I have parents putting masks on their children and sending them to me, and we have all the teachers masked and unmasked, and we'll be presenting a book to them that'll be, this is what school now looks like, because it's very different than what they left. So we're hoping that helps allay some fears, and that'll go to new families as well.
I did email a link. There's Teachers Pay Teachers, teacherspayteachers.com has a social story, and it was free. So I pasted that link into our protocol letter to the families. That was
A lot of our
it was for a social story. Sorry, I forgot that part.
No, I'm sorry. A lot of our teachers wear lanyards, so we're just going to take a picture of them without their mask on as well and keep it on there so that they have it too, so the kids can see that as well. So it's not just always with the mask on, to try to help.
I was wondering too, if anyone had the idea, just popped in my mind, about doing like a family Zoom time to introduce each family and their new students or to the classroom, kind of as a, hi, you're going to be in my classroom in the fall, and do a little 15-minute like home visit like we used to do way back, but just do it virtually so that they get to interact with the teachers without the mask. I don't know. When we've done Zoom classes that we have been doing now, our kids presently have responded really well. I guess they're used to the screen. And so that might work in our favor, but that was an idea that I had. I don't know if anyone's tried that.
We did Zoom calls while we were closed. Let me tell you what a Zoom call doing yoga with 3-year-olds look like. Wow. I will say that the kids like to do it, like for you guys, because they're either going to be excited about it or they're not going to be interested. Like for our Zoom calls, like, some of them were just excited to see each other. Like, I don't think going into it with anticipation that they're going to be comfortable with you and know you, like, just kind of here's my face, I'm going to be your new teacher. But I mean, I definitely think, especially if you can't have an open house or a meet the teacher night.
We are contemplating doing our parent orientation via Zoom and recording it, which would take away those who think they've already been in the school 4 times with other children not coming, and then therefore not knowing new policies. And so ideally I'm going to do my Zoom part, and then the teacher will take over, and I'll leave and go to the next classroom Zoom call, kind of in that format. So they'll listen to any questions that are asked, and we're not going to have to repeat anything going forward. So that is one thing for me. I'm thinking, okay, this takes another, how many hours of time away from having to pay teachers, having everybody come into a building, on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock or whatever. So we're kind of looking forward to that new development.
That sounds great, Kim.
My son goes to
part of that is that
Go ahead. I can't ever tell.
No, that's okay. I've got no. I know. No, I've got a bad feed on my today for some reason. But I was going to say the nice part of that for Kim is, or for anybody who chooses to do it that way, is that if you give them that link to the Zoom recording on Zoom in the cloud, you can make sure that those people who didn't attend live have watched it. It's almost like having them sign a document that says, yes, I agree, but to make sure that everybody has watched.
And that's part of it, is they will sign a document that qualifies that they have read it. And then when they come in with a question that tells me that they didn't know about that, I can just pull that sucker out and say, hey, but you said you did.
Yeah. With every handbook. I
Right.
read. Mm-hmm. My son goes to an intermediate school, so he'll be going into the 4th grade. So when you go from that's a new school starting the 3rd grade. Well, of course, these poor kiddos did not get to go and tour the school that are currently in the 2nd grade. So his school did like a video. It's basically a virtual tour of the school. So I thought about doing something like that, but then we ended up doing like a little virtual graduation. And so I just didn't have a chance, and we don't have openings anyway, even before COVID. So, but that could be something for, and Chris, something different with us is that I get new kiddos in the fall, but really just like a handful for pre-K. Like most of our kids are here year round. So I don't have a whole lot of new people starting in the fall. So, but for something like that, maybe putting together like a little video, a virtual video where they could see the classrooms and things like that, even if it was just pictures and you did them in a slideshow. Because we did that. I did that on Facebook when we opened because our classrooms looked different. We were lucky we were in that church and we had those god awful, accordion dividers that churches have, but sure am happy we had them now because that saved us a whole bunch of money at the beginning because we could use dividers, like 6 feet dividers, but we didn't have to because we had those beautiful curtain.
I was going to ask if you made any changes or brought in any materials or things.
Yeah, no, just thank goodness the rooms that we needed to make. So for our preschool room, now one of our entire preschool rooms is 2 because we have it closed up in the middle. So, but yeah, I almost had those tore out a couple years ago too.
How about sourcing other signs or things? Corey, I called that person yesterday, that Brenda person. She was very helpful. Thank you for that. We're definitely not having luck with a lot of things in stock in our area. So it's great to have that outside state contact. So thank you for sending that off. But we're certainly looking for signage. We can't find sanitizer stands, those sort of things.
Yeah, sanitizer stands are on back order here too. I did just get a whole case of like 8-ounce sanitizer bottles, and I got a couple gallons of refills because we've already had the big jugs, but I ordered a couple cases for the church because when they open, they're going to put them in the pews.
But with the big jugs, they're touching the top, yes? They have to.
Well, that's just for us to.
Or for restocking.
Yeah, I mean, for the jugs, when you pump it, I mean, I guess, yeah, you're touching the top, but then you're rubbing your hands with sanitizer afterwards.
Right, right.
I'm not a big sanitizer person. I would just rather wash my hands. I do sanitizer in the car after the grocery store to get me home. That's about it.
Oh, somebody said an easy hand sanitizer resource is any local distillery. So plan a trip, Target, and then the distillery. I think that's a great plan.
I'll sign up for that one.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, in the interest of time, we're at the end of our time today. Does anybody have any last minute questions for Sarah? For me? For anybody that's with us today? I know a couple people have logged off. These Zoom to Zoom to Zoom meetings can really take over your day.
I just want to say thanks, Sarah. This was really helpful to get perspective from somebody who's directly in the line of fire right now.
No problem. My pleasure.
This
and
was
it's nice
really
to see
helpful.
my ELEA faces.
Yeah.
Too. I definitely needed this for sure. So.
Sarah, will you send me the link to the social story that you told us about, and I'll make sure to post that?
Yeah.
And that thermometer you like, just to be sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank
my
you.
Zephyr. Yep.
Yeah, and I can post that too if any of you have other brands that you want to share, or I know we talked about today that Target is a good resource right now, but I can put that information on that resource page as well.
That'd be great. Thank you. Stay healthy.
Yes, stay well, stay healthy, everybody.
Thank you.
Blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
Sarah.
No problem. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Sarah.